So I just wrapped up the Joy Creation demo by Nixon and their team, and I really enjoyed it. It's a great blend of power and threat management that I saw some others having issues getting a grasp on the mechanics for online, or just not being able to get all the achievements. So this quick video has a little bit of everything. I'll have timestamps in the description for how all the mechanics work, tips for winning, and how to 100% complete the game. Grab a cup of coffee and let's get started. Your main objective is to find Ignited Freddy 12 times. Once you've done that, you win! There's no time limit aside from the main power, but the game does get progressively harder the longer it takes you to find him. Whenever you do, the digital clock on your desk and the analog clock above the main hall door will reflect how many times he's been spot checked. Check the cameras and pan left and right. When you spot him in the closet, the main hallway, or outside, check the door on your left, the door in front of your desk, or the window on the right. Once you've opened the door, look out the window, move your mouse left or right, then left-click to shine your light on Freddy. If you get it wrong, you hear the sound of him running off, and you'll have to wait for him to show up again. Next, let's go over the mechanics and how best to approach the night. The most important thing you'll have to deal with is power management of the fuse box, found in the hallway to the left of your desk. There's a set of cabinets and dresser drawers behind your desk and to the right of the main hall door. Searching them will eventually yield a fuse. There are always 2 fuses in the room at any time, including the one you're currently holding on to. Once you use a fuse, a new one will spawn in another drawer or cabinet. The top 3 fuses in the box are for your cameras. If they run out of power or Bonnie knocks one out, you'll lose that feed until you've replaced it. The fuse in the middle is for your flashlight. You can use it up to 6 times before the battery drains completely, so make sure to top it off every once in a while. Finally, the fuse at the very bottom is for the main power. If this runs out, it's game over. Next up is the monitors on your desk. The one on the left shows the camera in the closet, the middle one shows the camera in the main hall, and the one on the right is for outside your window. You'll be using these to keep an eye out for Freddy, Bonnie, and especially Foxy. Lastly for the mechanics is the doors and windows. It's the same for all 3. Open it, move the mouse left or right, then flash the light when you know where Freddy is. And that's it for how the game plays. Let's talk animatronics. There's 4 in total. Ignited Freddy, Ignited Bonnie, Ignited Foxy, and Ignited Chica. Freddy is your main objective. Find him on the cameras, flash him, rinse, and repeat. He'll never attack you directly, and only does so once the power runs out. Just, do your best to stop that happening. He doesn't get much more complicated than that, really. Just always make sure you're pointing your flashlight the right way, especially outside. Since that camera is pointing straight into the window you're looking out of, Freddy will always be on the opposite side of that camera when you look out. Freddy isn't a problem. It's the other animatronics you have to watch out for. Ignited Bonnie will annoy you at the beginning, but is very easy to manage. Whenever you pull up a camera, there's a chance Bonnie will be sitting close to the left or right of it. If you pan the camera too far and look at him, he'll punch the camera and completely drain its power, forcing you to replace its fuse. You'll also want to make sure you don't shine your flashlight at him when peering out a door or window, because then he'll punch you and completely drain your flashlight's battery. Jeez, the creator's got a jaw of steel. The trick with Bonnie is to not wildly flail the camera around from left and right. Slowly pan it in both directions first, and if you see him, point it away. If not, feel free to keep panning to search for Freddy. Both Freddy and Bonnie are inactive threats and will never chase you down. The next 2, however, are a bit more active. Ignited Foxy is who you need to worry about most. He'll randomly show up in one of the 3 cameras and always in the center of it. Move the camera directly in the middle of his eyes. After doing that a few times, he'll go away. The main problem is that as the night goes on, the amount of times you'll have to do this increases. What starts as only needing to focus on his eyes 3 to 5 times will turn into 6 or more, wasting precious time you could be spending looking for Freddy. Also, never look into a door or out the window if Foxy is still there. If you do, game over. And speaking of wasting your time, Ignited Chica. She'll show up right above your computer desk and spawn ignited cupcakes in the same spots you've been finding fuses in. Once you find one, flash your light at it and it'll go away. Repeat this until Chica disappears. While the ceiling bird might seem like a big threat, you're given a lot of time to deal with her. But much like Foxy, the amount of cupcakes you'll have to find increases the longer the night goes on for. Oh, and be sure not to stand underneath it. With the summary of how the game and animatronics function out of the way, let's go over how to survive the night. Here's a quick list of your top to bottom priorities while playing. Number 1, Foxy. Always take care of Foxy first. After you make him go away, you've got a minute or so before he comes back, which lets you relax and take care of everything else. Even if Chica is currently in the room and the lights only just started flickering, Foxy comes first. He will end your run otherwise. Number 2, search for fuses. As explained before, there are always 2 fuses in the room at any time, and you should always make it your objective to know where they are. Be sure to constantly have a fuse in your hand if you can, and locate the other one. If you're searching for fuses, always search every drawer and cabinet on the side of the room you're on. It only takes a few seconds to do, and it'll tell you the fuses are on the other side if you don't find any. Number 3, Chica. Chica actually plays very well with looking for fuses, as you'll more than likely happen upon them while finding cupcakes. Keep an eye on how many flashlight charges you have, and if you get lucky and a bunch of cupcakes are on one side of the room, take a fuse to the fuse box and replace your flashlight charges. Trust me, you've got a couple of minutes before she attacks you. Once she's gone, go back to your cameras and check for Foxy again. There's a good chance he's shown up while you were focused on her. Number 4, replace fuses. The main power should always be your focus, but don't worry about it until the lights start to flicker. You've got a generous amount of time to find or replace a fuse when this happens, around 30 seconds. Don't stress if you see it half empty. You've still got a lot of time to take care of other things. And lastly, number 5, check the cameras for Freddy. Once you have a fuse in your hand and have a good idea of where the other one might be, it's time to actually try to win. Make sure to slowly pan the camera left and right so you don't look at Bonnie, locate Freddy, then flash him. He'll take anywhere from 30 to 60 seconds to come back after a successful or unsuccessful flash, which leaves you plenty of time to take care of fuses and the fuse box. As Freddy will never attack you and only moves around 3 locations, he'll always be the last thing you should take care of. Keep that priority list on your mind, and you'll complete the demo swimmingly. Alright, so now you know or already knew how to play the game. How about some tips and tricks? First up, use A and D on the cameras instead of left and right clicking in and out of them. Your brain might instinctively have you using the mouse just because you're using on everything else, but it's much faster to use the keyboard on them, especially when looking for Foxy. A and D will also work from going to camera 1 to 3 and 3 to 1. Sometimes you might not find any fuses when searching at the beginning of the night. You'll see them show up more often as you replace the main power. The outdoors camera is pointing towards the window, so Freddy will always be on the opposite side of where you see him on it. It's designed to mess you up, so don't feel too bad if you get it wrong a couple times. The worst that'll happen is Freddy moves and you just have to look for him again. If you don't spot anyone on any of the cameras, spend that time opening everything so you know where the fuses are. You've got a lot of time to look until someone shows up. The fuzz on the monitors isn't just for show. It tells you how close the batteries are to running dry on each one. The harsher the fuzz, the closer it is to running out. You can use this to gauge which camera might need to have its fuse replaced first without even sitting at the desk. If you're playing optimally and Bonnie never knocks out a camera, you should only have to replace each camera's fuse once or maybe twice in a playthrough. Similarly, you'll notice the room gets more and more decrepit and messy each time you change out the main power in the fuse box. This is actually beneficial as it can tell you which animatronics are active. There's also some helpful sound cues that can tell you where certain animatronics are, but it's completely possible to complete this with no sound whatsoever. When Chica shows up, you'll also be able to hear the cupcakes, letting you know where to check. On that note, if a camera buzzes and flickers while you're on it, that usually means Freddy has moved somewhere else. It could be to the camera that you're currently on, so don't forget to look around before switching. That should be more than enough to get you through the game, so let's move on to the very last section of this guide. Achievements! As of the making of this video, there's a weird bug where they might not show up straight away until you complete the game, go back to the main menu, or quit out of it entirely. If something doesn't show up, try doing one of these 3 things first. There are 8 in total. Planned obsolescence. Let the flashlight run completely out of power and then try to use it. You can get this really easy at the beginning just by opening a door and constantly using the flashlight until it's drained. Spatial disorientation. When you see Freddy on the cameras, open a door and flash the opposite side he's on. This will cause him to run away and get you the achievement. Lights out. This one happens when your main power runs out. Just sit around doing a whole lot of nothing at the beginning until the lights, well, go out. Futile. Whenever a jump scare that would give you a game over is about to happen, try hitting the escape key on your keyboard. That's it. It's just a silly way of the game telling you, no, you don't get to be a baby. Watch it.
Oh my god, where's the bathroom?
Out like a light. If you see Bonnie on a monitor, just head over to where he is and shine the light on him. He'll deck you square in the face and give you this achievement for the trouble. One more. Die 10 times. You can just leave the game idling in the background, letting the power run out until you eventually get it, although there's a good chance you'll get this one anyways while getting a grasp on how the game works. If you want a more proactive way of getting it, replace the main power fuse 3 to 4 times in a row, then go look for Foxy in the cameras. Open the door he's in and let him jump you. Maintenance expert. You'll have to swap out 100 fuses, making this the hardest achievement just based on the amount of time it'll take to get. It's accumulative between runs, so just keep swapping out the main power's fuse until Foxy gets you, and it should pop up eventually. And that's it. I really hope this video helps out anyone that was stuck on something in particular, and do those usual things YouTube likes for engagement reasons if it did. This is a bit out of my usual wheelhouse of videos, but I figured, what the hey? I had fun with this demo, and so should you. Have a good one.